Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been a good amount of time since I have posted a video. I freely admit that. You know, there's not really an excuse as far as why I stopped posting at first, but then a lot happened, and now I'm not even promising to come back to a weekly video schedule. I'm just posting a life update and we'll kind of go from there. First of all, I don't know if I have any fellow tech geeks who are interested in this stuff, but just in case I do, you know, I think my last video was called, Well, Read U2, You Tried. And it was about how Read U2, better known as my Braille Sense U2, he's a great recorder. He's a great machine, period. Even though he's a 2016 model, he's still a great word processor. He's still a great media recorder. I still love him. But he and his successor, the Braille Sense 6, Samantha, more about her later, but the Braille Senses have their little quirks, you know, in various aspects of life, and one of them is you'll turn it on and it won't start recording right away. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to use this as a vlogging recorder, I need to like know that it's recording. But really, the alternative was to use an Olympus recorder, which I love the Olympuses too, but the thing about them is theoretically they have a USB drive in them, so I could stick it into a laptop computer and copy the folder full of footage from recorder to other USB drive, or from recorder to computer hard drive, or from recorder to someplace, and manipulate those files and edit those files together and make them into a YouTube video. Well, theoretically there's a USB port in these recorders, but when you take out the USB port and stick the recorder into the computer, the connection does not hold long enough for the computer to do what it needs to do. It's as if you're putting it in and out and in and out. It's like, stop. Hold the connection. Even with an extension cord, essentially, I thought that was going to help, but it didn't. So then I got an SD card reader, and yes, if I need to, I could take the SD card out of the Olympus recorder, stick it in the SD card reader, find the files, copy them, blah blah blah. But I'm looking for ease, okay? I'm looking for ease and effortlessness and stop it, Samantha Apple Watch. Excuse me while I go put this thing away. Make yourself useful, tell me what the statuses are, and then go away. Okay. I'm looking for ease and effortlessness, and that's not how you get ease and effortlessness. To record your YouTube videos on something that you cannot easily transfer off of. The easy way to do it is to record stuff on a device that you can even change the name of the file right there on the device, and then easily transfer those files to a USB drive, and then stick the USB drive in the computer and edit it together and do what you gotta do. Those devices that make that possible are the Braille senses. So I guess Reed and Sammy are going to be my vlogging recorders after all, even though the last thing I said was, well, Reed, you too, you tried. I love you, but you're not going to be my vlogging recorder. Upon further consideration, yeah, you are, I guess. If Sammy's not. Now, Sammy's got a remarkable recorder. I mean, she's just phenomenal. Wait till I record something with Sammy. I'm really impressed. She's, if anything, she might even have too good of a microphone. But, yeah. So, I just need to learn how to use these guys as vlogging recorders and maybe do a count in, or wait till I see recording on the Braille display before I start talking. So, thanks for listening to me babble about tech. So, where have I been all this time? Well, for the first couple weeks I just wasn't posting, and there's not really a good reason for it. But then, in late June, I went on vacation, and the vacation was overall enjoyable. I had some experiences that confirmed what I kind of had thought about what I really need when I go on vacation. Well, maybe not need, but yeah, dare I say need. Want would be better served if I had. I did not have that this vacation, and I made it work, but it would have been easier if I had arranged things better. I don't know if I could have arranged things better, but if I could have, if I had found a way to arrange things better, if I could have arranged to have the kind of assistance that would have been best for me, it would have been ideal, especially when there was a little bit of an unfortunate situation that I'm not going to discuss, but at the end of the day, I actually did have a lot of control over it. I just didn't know what doing what I did was opening myself up to. But I know the mistakes I made, and I know what it would be best if I had when I went on vacation in the future, and that will not happen again. Whether I have the assistance that I would be best served by or not, I know what I just cannot do and what I need to do. And really, ideally, part of planning a vacation in the future is going to be knowing where my built-in sighted assistance is going to come from. Am I meeting a friend or relative who lives in the area and getting them a hotel room, and are they staying in the room next door? Am I bringing a caregiver or county provided personal assistant, or whatever you want to call it? They call themselves caregivers. It's a caregiving agency that employs them, but they're not like taking care of me as far as like, you know, I'm not totally helpless. I just need assistance with things. And frankly, when I'm on vacation, being totally blind and having the navigational problems that I do, frankly, I need an elbow to hold, and that elbow needs to be attached to a person that will just walk me to where I want to go. And a pair of eyes who will, if I'm trying to go somewhere with someone and that someone is just as blind as I am, a pair of eyes that will either look back and make sure that that person is with us, or maybe even say to the other person, I can handle both of you, just here's my other elbow, hold on to that and we'll go. Like, yeah. Anyway, in spite of the unfortunate situation, I was able to see a friend that I've talked to a lot, but not actually seen for a long time. Actually, make that 2 friends. One that I talk to all the time, one that I talk to maybe a little bit less often, but it was nice to spend time with both of them. And it was nice to see one other person and talk to that person, and it was nice to spend time with a couple of relatives and their family and think about how my future might include, probably will include, honestly, spending more time with them. And I'm choosing what I say carefully because I don't know how much of this I want to talk about right now on YouTube. I don't even have it figured out for myself. In fact, far from it. I know I want to do it. I don't know exactly when. God knows I don't know how. Like, there's a lot of stuff I don't know yet. And with that being the case, I'm not ready to talk about that on YouTube yet. So, but it all started with that vacation. So I'm glad I went on the vacation. Some things could have gone better, but there were a lot of enjoyable times as it was. And then I came back from the vacation, and after about 36 hours of being home, I felt something come on, like I felt like I used to when I was coming down with a cold. And yeah, I certainly came down with something that it has taken quite a while to get over. And then, just as I was like at least over it enough to think I could handle what was coming up next, came up. That is, I was supposed to move back to my long-term apartment. I think I've talked about this on YouTube. I'm sure I've talked about this on YouTube. I'm actually living in an interim apartment right now. The apartment building that I had been living in for years, that I probably would have called my permanent apartment, the building underwent a huge renovation, and I said, I am not going to live inside that. I wasn't comfortable with it. I wasn't feeling safe about it. And that was the whole reason why I moved out of there and into this interim place. So with that in mind, can someone explain why the relocation team or the people in charge of the building that were above the apartment manager, I don't know who the hell made this decision, but can someone explain why someone decided that because my particular apartment was ready to move back into, this was the perfect time for me to move back? Never mind the fact that the rest of the floor that this apartment was on was not done being renovated. Never mind the fact that as I tried to navigate the building, I would find sections of wall that still hadn't been completed, areas that were still like either barricaded off or just not safe to walk through. Like, I don't know what genius decided this was the right time for me to move, but I had everything I owned packed up, and I went over to that apartment building only to find that out and say, okay, I'm not comfortable with this. This place is not ready for me to move back into yet. And turn around and come right back to the interim apartment building. On the one hand, thank God I had that option. I've got a lot to be grateful for. I am so grateful that I was able to come back and extend my stay at the interim building until the renovation is good and freaking done. And that unit and the building surrounding it is good and ready for a blind person to be trying to navigate with a white cane. However, I am also going to allow myself to acknowledge that it is very frustrating and disruptive to have everything you ever knew where it was packed up into boxes, and then the move isn't even ready to happen yet. So you end up coming back to the place you were and trying to reset your apartment back up to what it was just 48 hours ago. I mean, I wish somebody would have told me what the situation was and we had decided that the move was going to be delayed before the movers did what they do. I mean, the movers are good movers. They did their job well, and you know, I have nothing bad to say about the movers. It's just the whole thing was premature, and that was disruptive. So so I'm back at the interim place, and when I get the next notice to move, the first thing I'm going to do is call the apartment manager and say, give me a status report. Is the construction really finished? Because I'm supposed to be moving here in a couple of weeks, I guess, back to a week or 2 weeks, whatever here's the date I have. Do you expect the place to really be ready for me to live in by that time? Is it ready for me to move in now? Like, I'm going to be asking questions. I'm not going to just assume that people are looking out for my best interest, because maybe they're not. I know that sounds kind of paranoid, but what was this? And then there's something else going on that I'm not going to talk about, but I think the apartment manager at the more long-term building, again, I'm not going to call it the permanent building because, well, I'm not ready to talk about it in detail on YouTube, especially when I don't know the details myself. It's not necessarily going to be permanent because I don't think I'm going to be in the state that I'm in for the rest of my life. I mean, I think there's likely another move. It could be years down the road, and there's a lot of details I would need to work out. But I think there's at least one more move in my life after this one that will happen after the apartment manager says, yes, I can assure you everything that wasn't done when you tried to move the first time is done now. And here's the update on the other situation that is what it is. What's happening is people above the apartment manager have set this rule, and I don't know what the apartment manager thinks of it. It sounds like she might have her own concerns. I'm kind of concerned about it. I think other people are concerned about it who live in this building that is still in the process of being renovated. The apartment manager says they're having conversations with their superiors. I think there are efforts being made to try to get them to change their minds about this issue, but there is no guarantee that they will. And all I'll say is that these people are working with people who are older and disabled. And I think more and more these days, they are not thinking about the people that they're serving. They're just thinking about what is best in someone's view. I don't know if they're looking at it from a corporate point of view, a business angle. I mean, I understand their argument in this particular case, but I also think there's a counter argument to be made that when you're dealing with people who are elderly and disabled, first of all, it's just not easy for people who are older and disabled. Secondly, if there's an emergency and the person that is having the emergency literally is not capable of doing what the higher-ups are demanding be done, what's that person supposed to do? That's another video for another time if I ever have the courage to discuss it on YouTube. But that kind of brings me up to the present. I think part of the reason why I haven't felt, well, first of all, I'm just trying to get my motivation back for life itself. You know, my kind of priority ends up being the things that will make me some amount of money. As of now, YouTube is not one of those things, although either on YouTube or on my website, I might be putting a link of some kind where if somebody wanted to, I guess, donate, they could. No one is ever obligated to do it, but if I set that up and anyone ever does, I'll be ever so grateful. I really will. But, you know, I still don't have all the answers. You know, I don't know what my perfect life would look like. I'm slowly kind of figuring it out, I guess. And as I figure out what works and what doesn't work, I guess I'll focus on what works and what makes me the happiest, and what doesn't just doesn't get my attention. I'm not saying I'm not happy doing YouTube, but it's also true that I can't expect to make a living on YouTube. Some people do make livings on YouTube. Frankly, I don't know how it works. Because, well, first of all, they're very concerned about the look of their videos, which I never will be. Secondly, they're like beyond monetized. They're making a lot more than a couple of cents per video. But anyway, how I individually will be making money is an ongoing, it's a slow process to figure out. I do know that I've, in a lot of ways, retired from corporate America. I really don't want to go back to corporate America. I mean, I have casual jobs. You know, I am employed. It's not necessarily going to be enough to make a full living on. This could get into a tough to edit rabbit hole. I'm not going to continue this. It's in a piping hot air fryer. I'm going to leave it alone for a while. A 9 to 5 or even a 9 to 2 is not the life I want. I had that for over 5 years, and when it ended, I was done. The bottom line is, I'm still trying to figure out my life. I'm still trying to figure out what I want my life to look like. And it's not just about moving to another state. I mean, I am seriously thinking about moving to another state in the next several years. But it's not just about moving to that state and being closer to those people. Those people are not going to be the knights riding in on the white horse saving me. Those people are going to be my support system and my beloved people who it's going to be really nice to be able to visit more often because they're not so freaking far away that seeing them is a trip across country. But I know better than to expect to move to this other state and just automatically find happiness. Happiness is going to come from figuring out what I actually get joy out of. What I actually get joy out of. Not what everyone else thinks I should get joy out of. Not what people growing up thought I should have gotten joy out of. Not doing everything that I think everyone else wants me to do. But doing what actually makes me happy. What I actually enjoy. And I'm not saying that never happens as it is now, but my life is, I guess, a lot like that apartment building that I couldn't move into yet. There's still like open gaps. There's still parts of it that aren't figured out yet. There's still blanks to fill in. And I have no ETA of when it's going to be figured out. I don't expect to just wake up one morning and voila, figure it out. And on the one hand, I guess I could just vlog my life and take you with me on this journey of figuring out what the hell is my ideal life anyway. But I think what happens is there are times that I just, maybe more often than not, I'm just like, what even do I have to talk about? What would I create a video about if I wanted to? And nothing gets done. Well, you know, I think I created the life update several minutes worth of blabbing ago. I'm going to wrap this up because I'm kind of rambling about a lot. Thank you for listening, especially if you've listened this far. I've done a lot of rambling and I don't know if it's all that interesting. So yeah, welcome back to my channel as I record on either my Braille Senses or my Victor Reader streams. I have Victor Reader streams, a second generation and a third generation. And if I don't want to carry a big old Braille sets around, I mean, they're not that big, but compared to a Victor, they're larger than a Victor. But if I don't want to record on the Braille Sense, or if I don't want to carry the Braille Sense around as a vlogging recorder, although I'll be carrying the Braille Sense around anyway, because that thing's like, that and my cane are like parts of me. Some Braille Sense and a cane are just extensions of me. Anyway, if I don't want to use my Braille Senses, I could use my Victor Reader streams. Technically, I could use the Voice Memos app on my phone. Maybe I will at times, I don't know. But the easiest way to record and then manipulate the files is on a Braille Sense. The second easiest is on a Victor Reader stream, because the Victor Reader streams have the correct size SD cards in them to take the SD card back to the Braille Sense, change the name of the file, put it on the USB drive where I want it, and then take it back to the computer and do what I gotta do with it. Actually, the second generation is definitely the easiest one, because the third generation, you gotta like open this little door in the machine to pull out the SD card. The second generations, you just pull it out. And I appreciate the door on the third generation. It does like bring a sense of security. Like, you don't have to worry about dropping the machine, have it land just in the wrong way, and shit, there went the SD card. Where did that go? If you got the like rubber door of the SD card compartment closed, that doesn't happen. But you've also got to kind of dig it out of there when you do want to take it out. So anyway, I'll probably be recording either on the Victors or the Braille Senses, probably 95% of the time on the Braille Sense, just because that's what I like best. Even though you don't know exactly when it starts recording, you know, it takes a few seconds to get started. But that's just something I'm going to learn to live around and use them as my vlogging recorders, because those are the preferred vlogging recorders. Anyway, thank you for listening, watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.